So you want to loop over generally a collection of things. And that collection of things here is star.txt. So your loop will execute exactly as many times as there are things in star.txt. So star.txt is a collection of all the files that end with .txt, and it turns out that there's this many number of them. So the loop will execute once for every file, and each time the loop executes, it's going to refer to everything in this collection with the special name file name. So the first time that the loop executes, it looks at the first thing in star.txt, and that turns out to be any017298.txt. So the first time that the loop runs, this file name refers to that file. So when you echo it, it echoes this. The second time, file name will now refer to the second thing in the collection. And so when you echo it, this gets echoed. So let me write a few more loops here, and maybe you can tell me what the output will be. For file or for Fred in, let's see, 1, 2, 4, 9, do echo Fred. Done. What do you think this will do? It will just print 1, 2, 4, 9. Let's talk about how the shell does math. If you want the shell to do any kind of math, you have to put them in $ double brackets, just like this. So here 1 plus 2 plus 3 minus 5 will work. It adds 1. 1 plus 2 is 3, 3 plus 3 is 6, 6 minus 5 is 1. And so you're trying to run 1, which doesn't make any sense. So anyway, that's how you do math in the shell. So if I say for Mary now, in 1, 2, 3, 4, do echo $Mary plus 4, done. Hey, all right. And the reason that worked is for Mary in 1, 2, 3, 4, do echo $Mary plus 4. Done. Okay, how many of you can predict what this loop will print? Please forget about the loop before this. It's a little complex. Raise your hand if you can predict what this second loop here will do. Okay. Raise your hand if you know how many times this loop will run. Okay. The loop will run, remember, the loop will run exactly as many things as there are in our collection. How many things are there in our collection? 4 things. So how many times will the loop run? 4 times. So the loop will run 4 times. The first time that the loop runs, this word Mary will refer to the first thing in our collection. So the first time, Mary will refer to 1. And so when we echo Mary plus 4, this will be 1 plus 4, which will be 5. The second time, Mary will be 2. So when we echo Mary plus 4, it will be 2 plus 4, will be 6. So our output will just be 5, 6, 7, 8. I think. There we go. Okay, so that's how loops work. Yes?
Why is the need of double brackets?
That's just how the shell does math. If you want to do any kind of math within the shell, you have to provide the double brackets. If you don't, if you don't provide the double brackets and you just try to do math on the shell, it doesn't understand what that is. It will just literally take it as that expression. Sorry for the awkward syntax, but that's just how it is. So here's the loop that I'm going to write. For file name in NENE star.txt, do echo file name output hyphen file name. Done. How many of you can tell me what this loop will do? It's a lot, so take a minute to think about it. But tell me, or even better, if someone can write down what the output will be of this command. Anyone? Yeah, go ahead. Erase the board with whatever's in there. And if you have questions about the loop or why I wrote it in this way, this is in the board, by the way. All right. And then I'll tag that. Yes.
You used file for
Okay, the question was, I used file before and Fred and Mary and file name now. And why am I using all these different names? The answer is that the name doesn't matter. You see that this name is just an alias or some way to refer to things in this collection. It doesn't matter what this is. You can call it F, and if you call it F, then you need to refer to it as F inside the loop. So if you call this thing file name, then within the loop, it must be referred to as file name. If you said for file in any star.txt, and inside the loop you use the word file name, it wouldn't make the connection. Does that make sense? Okay.
what is the dollar sign doing?
What is the dollar sign doing? It tells the loop that this file name is not literally the word file name, but actually refers to a variable or something else that holds a value, or something that refers to a value. If we didn't have the dollar sign, then this would literally print file name, output file name, file name, output file name, file name, output file name, over and over again. But when you have the dollar sign, it knows that this name is special, and it actually refers to this thing, this guy here, which in turn is just an alias for everything in the collection. And wow, that's a huge mouthful, and I use so much jargon there that I'm not proud of myself. But there we are. So the output here will be the name of every file that matches this pattern, any 01729a.txt. And so that will be this guy here. And then the second thing that gets echoed is output hyphen followed by the file name. And so this is the output that we see here.
So that out is not a special word?
It's not. Remember, I don't have a dollar sign in front of the output. You see? So this part here is literally output minus. So every time the loop executes, you see it's output minus, output minus, output minus. But starting with file name, it's a special name, right? That refers to everything in that list.
So it just printed those. It just printed that, but it didn't create those.
It didn't create those. I remember, I'm just echoing these, right? I'm not doing anything with them. Okay, some questions for you. Why did I have this special pattern? Why not just star.txt? Because there are other files there that I don't want to match. Okay. And now here's the main question. Given this loop, let's say someone came and gave you this loop, and they told you, okay, I'm able to write this loop, but I know I'm getting close to what I need to do is analyzing all my files. How many of you think you can use this loop, modify it just a bit, to run your analysis on every file that you have? Okay, a lot of you. So go ahead again, put your stickies down, and write a loop now that will run the Goostats script on each file, on each input file, NE01729a.txt, NE01729b.txt, and so on and so forth. And for each file, it will produce a corresponding output file, right? For NE01729a.txt, you get the output file output NE01729a.txt, and so on and so forth. And all you'll have to do is modify one line in this loop. So put down your stickies and put up a green sticky once you've modified the loop to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this, and we'll take a quick break right after. We might overstep our schedule by 10 minutes. I hope that's okay with everyone. All right. So again, if you hit the up arrow on a loop, you see that you get this short form of a loop, and I don't like that at all. So I'm just gonna get rid of it. For file name, in any star.txt. Do. And now instead of echoing the file name, I'll actually run Goostats on it. And you can name the output whatever you want. Here I'm calling result-file name. And I'll add another line in the loop just to just to indicate progress as I go along. Most of you have only one line inside your loop. I've got two. The first line will run the program, and the second line will just say, okay, I'm done with this file. And so you see that this is just a little bit more responsive, I hope. So every time that a file is analyzed, the loop additionally will print this line, done with some file name. Okay. So the concept you need to remember is between the do and done, you don't need to have a single command. You can do several things inside the loop. And this takes a while. If you're curious, we have another task here, or we have another script here, stats.py, which does something a little more complex and takes about a minute to run. And tomorrow in the Palmetto workshop, we're going to show you how you can use the cluster to analyze each one of these files independently on the cluster. Right? Remember, all of these files don't have to be analyzed in sequence. They can actually be analyzed in parallel. And so we're going to learn how to do that using the Palmetto cluster. So you know to do a lot of things now with the Unix shell. You know how to navigate the file system. You know how to write pipelines. You know how to write loops to sort of automate tasks and do things repetitively. We're just going to learn a couple more concepts, and that will put you on like the top 10% of the Palmetto users, or basically Unix users in general.